mercy, no pity, no fear.
It's time for the David Baumann Show.
What you listening to?
Big Sports Radio guy.
Prepare the water cooler, that we may gather around it later and discuss things.
The David Baumann Show is an exclusive presentation of ESPN 1080 The Team Orlando. Sports with an edge. Now, here's David Baumann.
Wow, the old 1 year ago introduction to the David Baumann Show right here on Sports Talk 1040 and 1080 The Team. I'm David Baumann, Eric Lopez. 1 year anniversary. Absolutely thrilled to be celebrating with our listeners. It was a fantastic show. JJ Redick was our inaugural guest. JJ Redick was also our 1 year anniversary show guest. And in between, we've had so many NFL players, so many players from the NBA. We've had a lot of Major League Baseball talk. We're the home of the Yankees. And Elo, this has been fun, man. 1 year. Congratulations.
Hey, congrats to you. You've made things getting up at 4:30 in the morning and get to the station around 5 o'clock exciting. That's never thought it'd be possible, but you've done that with the show. And boy, what a way to start the show with a bang with JJ Redick, your first ever segment, first ever guest.
Yeah, and he's worn 3 jerseys since. He's got himself in a great situation with the Los Angeles Clippers. That interview available for our listeners on SportsTalkFlorida.com. This is DB Online right here, an exclusive presentation of SportsTalkFlorida.com. We do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week. We usually get to a little kind of off-color stories that we don't usually have time for during the show. But today we celebrate 1 year. Elo, what are some of your favorite memories of it?
Wow, the thing that jumps out to me is, how about the guest? We mentioned JJ Redick. We got him the morning after he got traded from the Magic to the Bucks exclusively on this show.
He was emotional in that one,
very
too.
Emotional, made national headlines. You were trending on Twitter that day. It was pretty across the country. Also, Stan Van Gundy and his comments about the coaching vacancy. I mean, we just so many guests. You think of the football. We have Lamar Woodley on the Steelers, Ike Taylor. We've had Justin Blackmon of the Jaguars. Baseball, we had Johnny Damon on. I mean, the big names and the headline stories, we've always been on top of it. It's been on this show, it seems.
And our listeners have been just remarkably good. Hysterical. One of our avid listeners, RGZ, just wrote into the program. Killer Cali writes, Derrick Rose has not played an NBA game since the start of the David Baumann Show. Yeah, some
that's
really funny.
And that's one of the unique things about this show. No other show can say that it interacts with social media as much as this show does on a daily basis.
Hito Turkoglu has made 1 3-pointer, 1 for 24 since the start of the David Baumann Show. Tim Tebow has completed 6 NFL passes.
That's more than I thought.
Since the premiere of the David Baumann Show. Did he? He completed 6 passes, huh?
That's impressive.
Wow.
Hey, more than I thought.
But our listeners, man, we're just so appreciative. Our listeners have just been fantastic. We just within the last 2 weeks of this program, I think we've surpassed 100 live comments on multiple occasions. So please keep it coming through the second year of this program. We love hearing from you. Basically, we love being the voice of the fans. And we take the criticism with the praise on the show equally. We want to hear from you. If you don't want to be talking about a certain topic, if you want to be hearing more about another topic, we want to know. We take the show in the direction you take us. Please keep it coming through year number 2. Elo, anything else?
David Buckman was the original producer of this show. A lot of people contributed to the show, but you went from television to radio.
Eric, I was comfortable in my TV role, too. I had worked with Bright House Sports Network for 8 years, and the family of the Bright House television channels, the news stations as well. And I was comfortable. So, I had a lot of anxiety about this. This opportunity came about, and it was totally new for me, but it was an opportunity that I could not pass up. I was ready to take a risk.
Yeah.
And instead of preparing 8 hours for a 2-minute television segment, we cram in the morning when we wake up, in the 4 o'clock hour. We cram in as much, studying as we can do before this show on a daily basis. And we set up a lot of interviews and make a lot of phone calls throughout the course of the day. And we just get to talk about sports for 3 hours. I have the best job in the world. I really do. Yeah. And can't wait to keep it going.
And we make the national headlines like no other show.
That's because of this website, SportsTalkFlorida.com.
It's done a tremendous job. And the one that just jumps out to me, remember the Joe Horn coming on blasting Deion Sanders?
Oh, yeah. Joe Horn was on the show.
Out of nowhere, and that came out of the blue. And
because it gets placed on the web.
Yeah.
And then it gets all circulated just throughout the world.
Yes.
With people clicking on the story, sharing it with their social networks.
And we were the first show before anybody even caught on about Dwight Howard and the finances between Houston and Los Angeles was overblown. We broke that down into detail, which turned out to be one of the factors. He went to Houston, and financially he's going to be okay because he's not going to lose the $30 million.
You know how that came about? Tony Nitty was the writer for Forbes magazine. Tony's original story had to do with how much taxes Dwight would pay over a 5-year period, a $118 million contract with the Lakers. And the Lakers kept painting the picture. Oh, Dwight can't pass on the extra $30 million because of the new CBA. Teams could only offer 4 years, 88, whereas the Lakers could offer bigger percentages of contract jumps on a yearly basis, and they could offer a 5th year. So 5 years, $118 million compared to 4 years, $88 from every other team. That seems like a big deal. But what people didn't realize, and still the national media painted the picture all the way up into the free agency signing day. Dwight isn't going to pass on $30 million from the Lakers. That was so overblown because the 5th year of that contract, Dwight Howard was never going to opt into to begin with. He can get out after 4 years at 31 years old and get another maximum multi-year contract, which he was going to do no matter what anyway. So the 5th year didn't matter. So I called Tony. I said, Tony, listen, do the numbers over 4 years. So he did. The numbers worked out because of California's ridiculous taxes, 13.3% for Dwight Howard in that upper bracket. Dwight Howard would pay $12 million in taxes over a 4-year period. So it would work out that he would walk away with about $79 million over 4 years. Whereas in Houston, with the original $88 million contract, he'd only pay $600,000 in change because of taxes. Texas is a state tax-free state, just like Florida. Now, although he gets taxed on the games he plays in other states, he would be walking away retaining $8 million more in Houston over 4 years, and then he's going to get another new deal. That is the foundation of the story, and that's how it always should have been, and the national guys missed it.
They missed it, but we were on top of it, and among many other storylines, and we could go hours with other guests, but let's get the time to thank a lot of important people here. Number one, some of the periodic guests we've had. Jenna Lane, who hopped on Tuesdays with the Bucks.
Regular guest. Let's get through the regular guests.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yes. Jenna Lane started off at Sports Exchange. You brought her in during the football season. Now she's SportsTalkFlorida.com's Bucks insider, but you brought her in on Tuesday. You used to known her for a while.
She's done a phenomenal job. She's had breaking stories.
Yes.
And it's great to have her part of the team.
Jessica Blaylock's been on Wednesdays, covers the NFL and the NBA, 10-10 in Jacksonville. And Fox Sports Florida is the sideline for the Orlando Magic. Provides a real great flexibility from the season on. Can go football, can go basketball. Yeah. We congratulate her, by the way. She's getting her own show in 10-10 in Jacksonville, covering the Jaguars every week, still training camp to the Super Bowl. That's the Baumann bump right there, baby. That gives good luck to a lot of athletes. Also, regular segments for people. Alex Kennedy, we just added, of course. He made headlines over the weekend, broke the Dwight Howard of the Rockets story. He's been on here on Thursdays.
Had the first interview with Dwight, I believe, after Dwight agreed to go to Houston.
Absolutely.
Alex has been great. Alex is with us on Thursdays at 8 o'clock.
Thursdays. You got Steve Kinsella, Rays Insiders contributed, as well as Mike Corcoran, NHL Insider, Mary Stevens, Magic Insider has contributed on the program on a weekly basis throughout the years during the seasons, depending on when we're needed as well. Of course, the athletes and the media have provided that. David Buckman, obviously, we both give a thanks behind the scenes, really the MVP with me. Train me to be where I'm at, and with you, there's a lot of behind the scenes with the commentaries, the teases you hear on the stations. Big part of the program.
Yeah, we just call him boss. Can't keep up with his promotions here at the station.
Absolutely.
Big thanks to Jared Rudolph, RealGM.com, who's with us Mondays and Fridays through the basketball season, columnist as well.
And I do provide stats during the show. Okay, we've had 3 guest hosts, fill-in hosts for Dave when he takes vacation, go to the beach like for all 24 hours, I guess. Jared Rudolph, first ever fill-in guest. Mm-hmm. Also, we have Ryan Bass, the most frequent fill-in guest from Bright House Sports Network. And J.C. Carnahan filled in during the Christmas holidays and New Year's. Fun show there. He freelances a lot of different stuff there. So those 3 especially, I know you're appreciative when they fill in for you.
Yeah, also, J.C. has written for the Sentinel, among others. Mm-hmm.
Chris Groves also produced this show and contributed as well.
That's right, Chris.
For when I've actually needed to take a 5-minute break from him for a few days there. But most importantly, I think you speak for me on this. Jerry O'Neill and Mike Tuck and O'Neill in the afternoons. I can speak for myself. I've been working here since 2010, started off writing on the website. I've done other different hats. They gave me an on-air opportunity on their show to fill in, help me out with updates and stuff like that. And they pushed me to produce your show because they liked, hey, he's got a good on-air presence. He could help out David with any on-air stuff. So I want to thank Mike and Jerry for that. And I know they mean a lot to you.
Same with me.
Without them, you don't even get a chance in radio.
Yeah, same thing. Fill-in host with Tuck and O'Neill. That's how I got my start in radio. And love those guys. I love their show, too. I think they do a phenomenal job for our afternoon listeners on 1080 throughout Central Florida. Big thanks to Jerry and Mike, Tuck and O'Neill, 3 to 7. On 1080 The Team. Our bosses, Bruce Maduri, the owner, his wife, Laura. This is a family company with Genesis Communications. Len Weiner, program director. Matt Sardo, our managing editor. And really, the sales team. Everybody in between who has contributed to push this show out. We're going to keep it going. 2 years, man. I'm looking forward to it. I would do this show forever. If my bosses came to me with a 25-year contract right now, I'd sign it. I swear. That's the truth. The best job in the world. Elo, love working with you, brother. Keep it up. Year number 2 should be phenomenal. Are we forgetting anything?
Hey, just appreciate the listeners.
The listeners are outrageous.
In 2 markets, Orlando and Tampa.
Adept listeners.
The only show that can get calls from Orlando and Tampa, the local show, tackle things like the Bucks, Rays, Lightning. We've talked Magic, talked UCF and USF. We're the only show, too, that's had George O'Leary and then USF head coach Skip Holtz in the same show. We've had Donnie Jones and Stan Heath.
In the same show as well, right?
Same show, yep. And we've had Willie Taggart on the show as well. So really provides a unique perspective on that. Also, we cover Florida State and Florida with different people throughout the year that's also contributed to the show. And, of course, the athletes have been phenomenal. Long list of athletes from college and pros. But we can just go on and on. But, at some point we have to end this video because we could go on hours and hours. And we do provide some entertainment as well and some levity, especially on DB Online and musical guests. We have Elio Castro-Neves, by the way, I want to remember, was also in this studio with you as well. So, it could go on and on, but music as well. Yeah,
and a former Gators running back, Jeff Demps, who got traded from the Patriots to the Bucks. Jeff Demps was in studio with us, made headlines when I played the role of Bill Belichick, and said, Jeff, I'm sorry, I'm Coach Belichick. How would you sell me on the idea of doing 2 sports? That made national headlines. Jukebox the Ghost was in studio with us, aforementioned, as Jacob Helwig, our video coordinator. We'll put that together.
Great addition to the show as well.
Yeah, Jacob puts together these videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This is DB Online. Have a listen to Jukebox the Ghost, who performed 3 live tunes with us in these studios from their album Safe Travels from just a few months ago.
Here it is, the champ, right here.
1-year anniversary, baby. This was fun. Thanks, everybody.
I want somebody. I want it. I need it. I want your eyes to turn and need it.